Hello everyone, in this video we will be seeing movie 1 of What If Deku Was the Son of Goku, so I really hope you guys enjoyed. So be sure to stick around until the end. Let's get started. Arise Shenron, echoed a voice high up in the mountains. The surrounding sky turned black as lighting explodes through the sky. A bright light shoots from 7 balls, and the light slowly forms into the shape of a dragon. The light fades into green scales, and a loud roar echoes in the mountains. The dragon turned down to face the one who called his name and recognized the man and the stupid grin he often wears. Goku, why have you summoned me from my slumber this time? The dragon looks around, noticing the one he called Goku as the only one there. Hey Shenron, long time no see, grinned Goku. Shenron growls lowly. What do you want? I don't have all day. Goku frowned, crossing his arms. Geez, you never lighten up, do you? Shenron roars in annoyance. Okay. I'll get to the point. I woke you up for a wish. I realize I'm not going to be around forever, and the same goes for my friends and family. So in the future there's no guarantee that there's going to be anyone to defend Earth if the times comes, you know. Shenron listened with curiosity. Go on. So basically I want to wish that the people of Earth have a way to take care of themselves and save the day on their own. Shenron's red eyes stared down at Goku, processing his words. Interesting wish. And I am able to grant it, but keep in mind that there may be consequences that follows. Goku looked up in confusion. What do you mean? If I grant your wish I shall give the people of Earth abilities. But you of all people should know that humans tend to become evil with power. However, there are people with good hearts that will use their gifts for good. So think carefully before making your wish. Goku thinker carefully before looking back up. I think it's a risk worth taking. The dragon nodded, and his eyes glowed brighter for a moment. Your wish has been granted. Now your final wish. Goku put his hand to his chin in deep thought. I didn't think of a second one. Goku thought long and hard for a moment. I'd like a day pass. Shenron tilted his head in confusion. A day pass? Yeah, when I die, I want to be able to come back to Earth for one day in a few years, so I can check on the progress of the place to make sure I made the right choice. Shenron once again nodded, and the moment of glow in his eyes returning. Your wish has been granted. Farewell. Until the next summoning. Shenron again turned into light and shrunk into the 7 magical Dragon Balls, then quickly exploded into all directions, with light blue skies returning to brighten the day. Goku sighed happily. Well, time to get some grub. He leaps up in the air and flies towards his home. Meanwhile, at a hospital in Ching City, a newborn baby begins to emanate light. This child is the first one affected by Goku's wish, the first person to get powers. And so the age of Quirks begins, many years after Quirks came to be. Fortune teller Baba floated on her ball, waiting for Goku to be kind enough to actually give her some attention. Wow, everything looks pretty ordinary here, doesn't it? Goku said, looking around the city. The world is a very different place from the one you left, Goku. You know the rules: 24 hours and you're back in Otherworld with the others. And do try to keep out of trouble this time. Goku simply gave her a thumbs up. No problem. I'll see you later. Baba simply nodded and floated away, leaving Goku on his own. Goku began to wander around the streets. He began to notice people looking somewhat differently. For example, some people had horns or were different colors. But then again, there were still plenty of average-looking people. As he continued observing, he heard screams and people yelling about a villain. Damn, that can't be good. He ran towards the commotion and saw a man covered in blades walking away with money he just stole from the bank. Goku began to make a move to take the guy out until the man was sent flying into a building. Smash! The crowd began to applaud and cheer. Yay! Go All Might! He's the greatest. Goku looked around in confusion until he saw a large blonde man with a big grin waving to everyone. Fear not, citizens. Because I am here. He walks over to the Blade Man and picks him up now to get this evildoer to the police. With a simple leap, All Might left with the villain in custody, leaving the nearby audience still cheering. Goku crossed his arms, smiling. Well, so far my wish is holding out. He continued to wander around and occasionally watch heroes in action, and was somewhat relieved that at no point did he have to step in and help, but another part of him hated it because he was missing out on all the action. Of course that would quickly change when he heard another scream. He turned to see what problem was this time, and what hero would step in to help. He saw a young woman being held hostage by a small group of villains, who looked like they screwed up a robbery, so they took the woman as leverage to keep the pro-heroes away from them. A few pros stood in fighting stances, but none made a move in fear of putting the woman in danger. Goku continued to watch for a few moments longer before deciding to action. Quickly activating his instant transmission technique, he punched the man in the jaw who held the woman hostage, and quickly took her to safety with the pro-heroes, before returning to the middle of the villains. I'm only gonna say this once: drop the money and apologize. The villains stared in surprise before they grinned. "Oh yeah? What are you gonna do about it?" Goku smirked this. He disappeared, and then reappeared behind the villain, who was speaking to him, and did a chop-like motion to his neck, knocking him out. He continued this for the remaining 4 villains, leaving them all unconscious. The surrounding crowd stared in amazement before cheering for him. Goku walked by the pro heroes. "You guys can handle it from here?" He continued walking around the corner until something caught his attention. "Wait!" He turned to see the young woman he had rescued running towards him. She stood there panting for a moment. "You didn't let me thank you." Goku smiled, scratching the back of his head. "Oh, it was no problem. Honestly." She smiled up at him still. "Thank you. I was honestly so scared I didn't know what I was going to do. But then you just appeared and stopped them effortlessly. I feel like a simple thank you isn't enough." "Don't worry about it's fine." At that moment his stomach growled loudly, disturbing the conversation. Goku hangs onto his stomach, giggling nervously. Sorry, now I think about it, I haven't eaten all day." The woman smiles. "Well then how about I get you something to eat as a thank you?" Goku grinned. "Oh sure, that sounds like a great idea. Okay, then it's a deal." "I didn't catch your name." "Oh well, my name is Goku. What's yours?" The woman holds out her hand to shake his. "I'm Izuku Midoriya." Both smile as they shake hands and walk down the street together. After a few moments, curiosity got the better. "Izuku. So Goku, what's that thing above your head?" Goku looks at Izuku, then up at what she's pointing to. "Oh that, it's a halo. Everyone gets one when they die." Izuku's eyes widen. Does that mean you're dead?" Goku gives Izuku a thumbs up. "Hehehe, yup." Izuku simply stared at Goku, eyes still widened. "He's dead. A dead guy rescued me. How's this possible?" "Oh, that's easy. I got a 24-hour pass to visit. If someone is good enough, they get a 24-hour pass to live. But in my case I wished for it with the Dragon Balls." Izuku's jaw is basically on the ground. This is a lot to process. Goku rubs the back of his head. "I guess I've said too much, huh?" Izuku looked at Goku. How about we get you that food before you freak me out too much more?" They walked together to a nearby restaurant, and Goku continued to explain the Dragon Balls and the wishes he made to the eternal dragon Shenron. He learnt that Izuku recently got into a fight with her boyfriend, and they've been apart for a while, and she was out for a walk to clear her mind when she got kidnapped by the villains. They spent some time at the restaurant, and Izuku was beginning to fear that Goku would either choke to death from eating so fast, or that the man was gonna send her broke with the bill he was raking up. Eventually he managed to sit back and slap his belly with satisfaction. They continued to walk together, and Izuku did her best to explain how things are now since Goku and the rest of the Z-Fighters moved on into Otherworld. At some point they arrived at Izuku's small apartment. "So do you go back to Otherworld now?" Nah, I still got a few hours left before Baba comes and gets me." Goku stretched with a yawn. Izuku raised a brow. "Really? You're dead and you get tired?" "Well yeah. When you get to keep your body it still does the same when you're alive." Izuku nodded. "Well, I'm assuming you got nowhere to stay, so you're welcome to stay for the night till you need to go." Goku thought about her offer for the moment. Sure, I could use the rest. The meal from earlier still has me stuffed." Izuku managed to get together some blankets and pillow for Goku and set him up on the couch. But it was still early, so she decided to put a movie on to watch until she was tired enough to go to bed. At some point she found herself leaning against Goku. Eventually this led to something more, and neither of them bothered to see how the movie ended since they were too distracted by each other. Next morning, Izuku sat up in her bed noticing she was alone. She sighed, thinking it was all a dream, till she realized she was naked. She rarely sleeps naked even when she is alone. She quickly got dressed and checked the couch to find blankets on the floor beside the spare pillow. She then decided that passionate night she spent with her rescuer did happen, and then this would be confirmed by a note left on the table. She gave it a glance, then proceeded to read it. "Hey Izuku. Sorry I left without saying goodbye, but I ran out of time and had to leave with Baba. Unfortunately you won't see me again, but who knows, I might get another pass if I behave myself. I had a wonderful time with you, and I'm happy my wish had worked like I hoped. Thank you for the meal too. Goku. P.S. Baba wrote this, not Goku. I'm pretty sure that boy has no idea how to write as well as this." Izuku couldn't help but giggle as she read the note. She sighed happily and looked out towards the window. "I won't forget you, Goku." 16 years later, Xeno's palace. The two Xenos stared in awe at the crystal orb in front of them, watching a lesson in a hero course from planet Earth in the 7th universe. "I like this one. He's strong." "Yes, he's very strong," they say amongst each other. The person they referred to was a boy with green-black hair. Ever since Goku made his wish, the two Xenos took interest in the development of what would happen, and had found a source of new entertainment. So they were now no reason to become bored. The boy in the orb suddenly have some kind of black substance pouring out of him. Ooh, what's that? He couldn't do that before. Wow. They continued watching on in interest until the boy and his team won the match. That was fun. Yes, very fun. We should thank Goku for making the wish. Yes, we should. Both of them made a single clap in unison, and the Grand Minister appeared. You called me? Asked the minister as he bowed. Yes, we wish to reward Goku. He has deserved it. The Grand Minister simply smiled, of course. What do you have in mind? A party, a tournament. The Xenos looked at each other as they gave different answers, then looked back to the Grand Minister. A tournament? A party. They once again looked at each other in confusion as they had just changed their answers to suit the other, but the Grand Minister simply nodded. A tournament party. What a splendid idea. I'm sure Goku would be thrilled with it. Yes, a party of celebration, and battles to keep them entertained. All of Goku's closest friends and family should attend. Let's do it right now. The Grand Minister chuckled. I appreciate the enthusiasm, my lords, but this will take time to prepare. I request at least 1 Earth week to make all preparations. Oh, okay, I guess we can wait. The Grand Minister bowed. Thank you for your patience. I shall go do what is required at once. With one more smile, the Grand Minister vanished. I'm so excited. Ooh, I can't wait. Universe 7, Grand Kai's world. Gohan sat with his wife Videl and mother Chi-Chi watching Goku spar with Goten and Pan. Will they ever work out they can't beat him? Questioned Gohan. Well, I'm pretty sure Pan's stubbornness comes from the Saiyan bloodline, same as Goten. Besides, at least they're having fun, replied Videl as she leaned against him. Honestly, I thought after we all died it'd be more relaxing, but I guess when your father is involved that's not possible, sighed Chi-Chi. In that moment the Grand Minister appeared. Oh good, I found you. Gohan looked up in surprise and quickly bowed in respect. Grand Minister, why are you here? I'm here by request of the Omni Kings. Many centuries ago your father made a wish to Earth's eternal dragon. Gohan thought for a moment. Oh yeah, he wanted a way for the Earth to be protected after we all passed on to. That is correct. The Omni Kings have watched the Universe 7 Earth with curiosity after the wish was made. And in doing so it has given them a grand source of entertainment. So they wish to reward Goku, explained the Grand Minister. Oh I see, gimme a sec. Gohan turned and yelled to Goku. Before you could hear an echo, Goku appeared next to him. What's up? Oh hey Grand Minister, how's the two Zennies doing? They're fine, actually their happiness is the reason I'm here, and so the Grand Minister gave Goku the same explanation he just gave Gohan. Oh I see. How do they want to reward me exactly? Because I got everything I need here. I even trained some heroes from Earth time to time just for fun. Asked Goku. Well, they decided to host a tournament party for you. A what? Goku yelled. A party with feasts and celebrations for you and your friends and family, also a fighting tournament for any of your friends who wish to enter, explained Grand Minister. Holy crap. This is beyond awesome. I can't wait. When is it? Come on, tell me please, begged Goku. It'll take place in a week. I'll make all the necessary preparations. You can invite anyone you wish. I'll let Whis assist me in gathering your guests. This is great. Oh boy, I just can't wait. Chi-Chi bumps in. Geez, get a hold of yourself, Goku. It's only a week, it'll go by in a flash. But I hate waiting. Oh, I can just go train. That'll pass the time, thought Goku. Chi-Chi sighed. Is that all you think about? You're the strongest being in the universe. Yeah, but I gotta stay on my game in case Vegeta surpasses me since I saw him last. Some things never change, commented Videl. Well then I shall take my leave. I'll see you all on the day. After another smile and bow, the Grand Minister vanished. 6 days later, Earth Universe 7. Inko sat in her empty apartment watching TV. She thought by now she'd be used to living alone since Izuku stayed in the dorms at UA. But it hasn't been as easy as she hoped. Maybe she should get a cat. A little kitten to take care of would for sure keep her busy and distracted. Her thoughts are interrupted by a knock on a door. Huh, wonder who that could be. Wouldn't be Izuku he usually calls before visiting. She opened the door to look up at a blue man with a strange hairstyle and a mysterious-looking staff. Hello, can I help you? Inko asked the man. Greetings, Inko. I am Whis. I've been sent here to collect you and your son for a celebration event. Inko stared blankly at the man who calls himself Whis. How do you know my name? And what celebration? Oh, my apologies. I suppose I should explain. The Omni Kings are rewarding a man you once knew with a party, and both you and your son are invited due to your past relationship. The confusion on Inko's only grew more. Who's the Omni Kings, but more importantly, what man was he referring to? Who's the man I knew? Oh, I would be referring to Goku. At the mention of the name, Inko's world stood still. Her mind flashed back to the day she spent with her rescuer. And the night that soon followed, she looked up at Whis. Oh my. Why would I be invited? We barely know each other. Whis smiled. True as that may be, but family is invited thus. I'm sure you can work out what I mean by that. Her face turned pale as she processed the words he said. Sure, her and Goku had a night of passion, but soon after he left she got back together with her at the time ex-boyfriend Hisashi. They got married and had a baby boy that she just assumed was Hisashi's son. Are you telling me that my Izuku is Goku's son? Inko, wanting confirmation that would be correct. Yes. Although it would appear that only myself, Lord Barris and the Kais are aware of this. Although Goku had admitted to spending an evening with you with his family, he is unaware he sired a son with you. Inko breathed heavily. This is a lot to process. How do I even explain this? Might I suggest keeping this to yourself, at least for the time being? We'll reveal this unexpected secret when the opportunity best suits. For now, inform young Izuku that he has a party to go to tomorrow. It is a Saturday, so it shouldn't interfere with his studies. But I believe this will greatly benefit him in his goal of becoming a hero. Inko nodded, still trying to deal with the shock. Okay, wait, how do we get to this party anyway? Oh, I'll come collect you both. Say 12:00 p.m. suit? Inko simply nodded in agreement with the meeting time. Splendid. I'll see you then. Oh my, this is going to be exciting, Wiz commented to himself as he turned to leave. Inko stared into the hallway, processing the entire conversation. She eventually gained the mental strength to dial her son's number and inform him of the plans to go to a party. Goku walked along North Kai's training grounds looking around. Where is she? He continued looking around until he found a woman with dark hair and in a white cape. Goku grinned and walked over to her. Hey Nana. She turned to face him, grinning. Oh, hey Goku, you're not training me today, are you? Goku stretched. Nah, I actually came here to invite you to the tournament party. Nana raised a brow. Tournament party? Yeah. Basically a big party followed by a fighting tournament. I figured with all the training you've been doing since you got here you'd like to put it into practice. Am I allowed to use my quirk? You mean that one for all thingy? Sure, I've been wanting to see it in action. She grinned. Good. To be honest, I didn't even know I'd still have it. Thought the power would have left me and gone on to Toshinori. Goku stood beside her, looking at the horizon. That's the wonderful thing about this place. People who get to come here get to stay in the body that was in their greatest prime. That's why you don't see anyone walking around here looking old and frail. They stay young and in their prime. So you in your prime is when you had that quirk. So naturally you get to keep. That'll be same case for the people before you and after. What's the guy's name you gave it to? Oh, Toshi. His hero name is All Might. She answered. Is he blonde? Yeah. How'd you know? I met him last time I was on Earth. He punched out a guy. I was impressed. Anyway, you gonna join the tournament? Nana smirked, clenching her fist. Count me in. Good cause, it starts in an hour. Forgot to tell you about it earlier. He began to walk away and she quickly followed. I wonder who get to fight. Heh, this is exciting. Universe 7, Earth. Izuku panted as he sweated from the training session he had with All Might. That'll do for the day, young Midoriya. You had somewhere to be today, didn't you? Izuku nodded. Yes, some party. I'm not sure what it is. All Might simply nodded. Just remember to be back by curfew, or at least inform Aizawa that you'll be staying with your mother or something. Izuku stood up with a final stretch. I'll be sure to. I'll catch you later, All Might. He began running back to the dorms as part of his final exercise for the day, and to get changed. Hours later we finally arrived at his childhood home. Mom, I made it. Inko popped her head around the corner. Oh sweetie, you're here. Yeah, so where we going? Oh, someone is taking us. I haven't been there before. Wiz suddenly appears in the kitchen. Oh good, you're both here. Izuku stared at the blue man. Who are you? Oh, I'm a Wiz. I'll be your transportation for today. Huh, so you got a warp quirk? Oh my, no, not a quirk, dear boy. Quirks are only thing that exists on this earth. Izuku continued to stare at the blue man in confusion until Inko stood beside him. Okay, then let's get going. Wiz tapped his staff and the three disappeared from the apartment. Null Realm. Gohan looked around with Goten beside him. Feels weird being back here. Oh yeah, well, Trunks and I are still pissed you didn't let us join. That's ages ago. Besides, there's a new tournament now. You can fight in that. Goten thought about it and nodded. Fine. Wait, is there a prize? There's usually always a prize in these tournaments. The prize is the same as it usually is. The Super Dragon Balls, answered the Grand Minister, appearing next to them. But that's later. Right now, feast. With a tap of his staff, rows of tables and meals appeared. Instantly Boo and Goku raced to start eating while everyone casually walked over. Eventually the whole old gang was back together. Everyone from Krillin and Master Rossi to Vegeta and Bulma. That was then interrupted by the arrival of 3 unexpected guests that no one expected to see, let alone Goku. 2 of them wore Saiyan armor, while the other wore Earth clothes and had a giant mustache. One of the Saiyans looked like Goku. The old man walked over to Goku, who was currently stuffing his face with pork buns. "You always did have big appetite, my boy." Goku began to choke as he recognized the voice. After a few solid slaps on the chest to help him swallow, he turned to face the man. "Grandpa?" The old man smiled. "That's right, it's me." Tears formed in Goku's eyes and he pulled him into a hug. Gohan and Goten stared. "Wow, I've never seen Dad that emotional." Chi-Chi walked up beside them and grabbed them both by the hand, leading them to Goku. "Boys, this is your great-grandfather Gohan." Gohan looked in surprise. "Wait, you mean the Gohan you named me after? Grandpa Gohan?" Goku nodded as he wiped his tears. "Grandpa. These are my boys Gohan and Goten. Well, they certainly take after their father, I see. I don't mean to be rude, but there's people I wish you to meet." Grandpa Gohan turned and led the family towards the 2 armored Saiyans. The 2 Saiyans stared in awe at the person walking towards them. Grandpa Gohan began the introductions. "Goku. This is Bardock and Jine. They're your parents, my boy." Goku stared at them, unsure of what to do. It was clear Bardock was having the same reaction as him. But Jine walked up to Goku, smiling with teary eyes, and embraced him. Goku relaxed, hugged back. Bardock shifted on the spot before speaking. "You've got yourself quite the reputation, son. Never did I expect such great things to come from you when you were a child." Goku looked up at him. "I heard what you did too. I was proud to hear that." Jine let go and sniffed. "I'm just happy I could finally speak to you after all this time." "Me too. Maybe you two want to meet your grandkids." And great-grandkid Goku tilted his head in the direction of Goten, Pan and Gohan. The 2 Saiyans nodded and walked over to greet them. A noise caught Goku's attention, and he turned to see Whis appear with 2 other people. The boy he didn't recognize, but the woman he did. Although she had changed, she was still somewhat recognizable. While the boy seemed to be freaking out over what just happened, Inko and Goku locked eyes. She made her way over to him. "Hey Goku, hey Inko, why are you here?" "Oh well, that Whis guy invited me and my son." Goku looked back towards the boy, who was still freaking out with Whis trying to calm him. "So that's your son? He looks a lot like his mother." She turned to look at Izuku. "He's my world." Goku smiled. "Well, since now you're here, I can introduce you to everyone I told you about." Goku led the way with Inko following. Meanwhile, Izuku looked around with great confusion. What the hell is going on? What kind of party is this? And why am I here? Whis sighed, rubbing his temple. "You'll find out in time. But for now, go enjoy the feast before you, young man. Besides, there might be someone here that you'll take interest into speaking to." As if on cue, Izuku looked over to see Nana wrestling Boo for some buffalo wings. The moment she claimed them and grinned with victory, Izuku's mind clicked, realizing who she was, All Might's master. Nana Shimura. Izuku mentally tried to prep himself into working out how to introduce himself to the previous holder of One for All, but was interrupted by the Grand Minister announcing the arrival of the Omni Kings. Goku quickly jumped in front of them, hugging them, and blanked on about thanking them for the shine dig. As expected, Beerus was mortified at the sight. How, after knowing them for at least over a century, does he not know respect? He appears behind Goku and slogs him across the head, then quickly bows to the Xenos. Goku cringed, rubbing his head. "Hey, that hurt." The Xenos both laughed. "He's funny. Very funny." One of the Xenos looked over and saw Izuku, and his eyes lit up. "Look, it's him." The other Xeno looked in the same direction. "Oh, it is him. Yay, he's here." They instantly appeared in front of Izuku, causing him to do a double take. "Wow, he's much more plain in person." "Yes, but he has more strength." Then we think, "Yes, he does more." Then he's aware of himself. Goku and Beerus look at each other, then to the Grand Minister. "Hey, why do the Zannies have an interest in Inko's kid?" They look back at Izuku, and he's looking back and forth between the 2 Omni Kings, obviously in a great confusion of the situation he's found himself in. The Grand Minister smiled. "As you're aware, Goku, the wish you made has brought the Omni Kings great entertainment. Currently they have taken interest in the life of young Mr. Midoriya." Meanwhile, the Xenos continued looking at Izuku. "Is he going to be in the tournament?" "Oh, I hope he does. It'll be fun." "Oh, so much fun." Izuku blinked in confusion. "Tea tournament?" Whis stepped in. "Yes, not only is this a party, but there will also be a fighting tournament." Izuku looked up at Whis. Kinda like the sports festival." "Yes, consider it an exclusive training opportunity to fight against people who don't rely on quirks." This gained Izuku's interest. "Okay, Wait, I'm not wearing my hero costume, and am I allowed to use support items? The Xenos nodded. Yes, you may, you'll need it to survive. Izuku blinked. Well then let's get you back to UA to get your gear before the tournament begins. Whis tapped his staff and both himself and Izuku disappeared. Goku blinked, looking back at the Grand Minister. Okay, what's so special about the kid? The Grand Minister answered by tapping his staff and making an orb appear above everyone, and proceeded to show Izuku's battle against Overhaul. Everyone looked up to watch. Nana watched with great interest his quirk. Is it? Inko cringed and looked away as Izuku broke his body, but instantly repaired by Era's quirk. The viewing of the battle ends and Goku looks towards Nana and walks over to me. Is it just mean, or does that kid's power seem like yours? Nana smirked. The reason it seems like my power is because it is my power, Goku. It would seem that Toshinori has found his successor. Goku crosses his arms. I see. This should be interesting. Grand Minister spoke up. Now let's announce the matchups for the tournament. The Grand Minister tapped his staff and the orb shows the list of battles. Gohan vs Grandpa Gohan, Goten vs 17, Krillin vs Bardock, Jean vs 18, Goku vs Piccolo, Vegeta vs Buu, Pan vs Tien, Roshi vs Yamcha, Trunks vs Nana, Izuku vs Raditz. Everyone looked at the tournament list and were happy with the results until Jin spoke. Wait. The green-haired kid is fighting Raditz? Raditz. Everyone stared at his name in shock. Inko looked around in confusion. Who's Raditz? Bardock stood beside. He's our son, Kakarot's brother. I killed him and Goku when he tried to kidnap Gohan. Inko stared in shock at the mention of him killing Goku. But Chi-Chi spoke. Why's he on the list? He isn't even here. He just wanted to battle. He didn't want to be part of the friendly celebrations, explained Grand Minister. Why would you allow him to fight? Asked Gohan. Well, he is family after all. Said one of the Xenos. I don't know what everyone is worried about. He's a weakling, and the green-haired boy has the ability to defeat him if he uses his head. Interrupted Vegeta. Everyone looked at him, and Goku agreed he'll be fine. You all saw what he can do. Whis then suddenly reappear with a suited-up Izuku. Okay, I'm ready to go, announced Izuku. The Xenos applauded excitedly. Yay, let's begin. Yes, let's. Very well then, let the battles begin. First up, Gohan versus older Gohan. With a tap of his staff, everyone was transported to the viewing stands while the Gohans were left on the battlefield to face off. The Xenos rang the bell signaling the start of the battle. Okay then, begin. Go easy on me now. I'm still just a frail old man, said Grandpa Gohan, as he took up the classic turtle-style fighting stance. I'm not falling for that old-timer, smiled Gohan, taking up his own stance. Gohan smirked. Very well. Then, in a split second, he appeared behind Gohan, launching a kick towards him, but he quickly blocked it. You're pretty fast for an old guy. But that won't help you. The two began exchanging punches and kicks with the younger Gohan holding back, obviously. Gohan backed off. Well, it's pretty obvious that I won't win this, so let's finish with a bang, my boy. Whatever you say. Gohan adjusted his stances. The young Gohan recognized the position and followed suit, and together they spoke unison. Ha, me, ha. They both shot a light of blue energy towards each other, with it colliding together, causing a shockwaves to explode from the impact. The light was so blinding that Izuku was unable to see the ending result. As his eyes began to focus, a voice appeared next to me. Well, it seems I've lost. Izuku turned to see the old man standing beside him, smiling like he had just enjoyed a hot cup of tea. The winner is Gohan. Everyone applauded both fighters as the elder sat down with Ox King and Roshi to continue their earlier conversation. Next battle. Goten and 17 enter the stage. Goten jumped, stretching excitedly to the point you would have mistaken him for Goku. He sprang into the arena and 17 eventually joined him. They didn't take long before fighting, but Goten's overconfidence turned against him and got himself kicked out of the ring. The young half-Saiyan pouted when he appeared next to his friends. Aw, I didn't even get to try out my new moves. Krillin and Bardock then took stage. Krillin seemed to have the upper with his strength and techniques, especially his Destructo discs. But fortunately for Bardock, years of non-stop combat, and fighting different alien species from across space, have him an advantage in strategy and improvised battle tactics. He somehow managed to blindside Krillin and knock him out of the ring, but he did get a rather deep wound in his shoulder from Krillin discs. Jean took stage alongside 18. From the moment the battle began, it was clear she lacked the experience her husband had. But she did have his not-give-up determination, which seems to be a family trait with these Saiyans. 18 avoided all chances, and continuously stayed on the offensive, eventually forcing Jean out of the ring. And then Goku and Piccolo stepped up and face off. If it's okay with you Goku, I'm already aware of how this will end, which I'm sure you are too. See, let's skip the warm-up and all that crap and cut straight to the point of it. Goku chuckled. If that's what you want. Piccolo smirked as he began charging up with 2 fingers placed on his forehead. Goku took up the same stance as the 2 Gohans did before Kamehame. Piccolo grinned. Special beam, Kanon, ha. The both shot beams of light towards each other, with Izuku doing everything he can to observe. He continually questioned how everyone here can be quirkless yet be without a doubt the strongest people he's ever laid eyes on. Then Piccolo appeared next to him, eyes closed and smiling. To think we were once equally close in power. And now I'm nothing compared to him. He chuckled and took a seat beside Izuku. Okay Thunder Thighs, let's get this over with, demanded Vegeta as he landed on the stage waiting for Boo to face him. Get him Boo, show him who's the man, cheered Hercule. No offense Mr. Satan, but do you really think Boo has a chance against my husband? Smirked Bulma, crossing her arms. Doesn't matter. I'm here to support Boo no matter the odds. Izuku smiled at the man's words of support for his pink friend, and turned to watch the battle. The bell rang, and Boo charged forward, throwing a barrage of kicks and punches. Vegeta dodged effortlessly and frowned. Honestly, it's embarrassing that you were actually capable of killing me. Once, Vegeta throws a punch and landed into Boo's face, making it cave and send him rolling back. Boo sat up holding his face and stood up angrily, blowing steam. Boo make you pay! He charged forward towards Vegeta. As soon as he was close, Vegeta took a sidestep, letting Boo past, but grabbed him by the single antenna on top of his head, and began spinning him around and around. To the point all you could see was a pink tornado. He let go, sending Boo crashing into the observation stands, which technically means he got thrown out of bounds, making Vegeta the winner. Pan and Teen stood on the stage and respectfully bowed to each other before taking a fighting stance. Go sweetie, you can do it! Cheered Videl, which caused Pan to blush in embarrassment. The bell rang and the 2 fighters went toe-to-toe. After a while Teen performed a solar flare, which caused Pan to chuckle. Oh come on, that's the oldest trick in the book. She jammed her elbow backwards, forcing it into Teen's stomach, who was trying to sneak up behind her. Twin groaned in pain but grinned as he grabbed her arm and kicked her in the chest and threw her towards out of bounds. She quickly gained control and landed on the edge of the ring and sighed in relief. Dodon Ray. The beam struck her in the back with enough force to send her out, and she appeared next to her parents. I lost. Damn it. She crosses her arms and pouted. Teen walked up to her. You got skill no doubt, but you're just like your uncle, a tad of overconfident. Instead of being upset, be proud and use this as learning lesson on what to improve on. She sighed and nodded with a smile before bowing to Teen. I'll beat you next time. I look forward to it. Roshi stood up, stretching. Okay then, let's get this show on the road. Yamcha rubbed the back of his head nervously. Actually, I give up. What? Everyone yelled as they turned to him. I decided long ago that I'm not a fighter anymore. Against the average Joe I might stand a chance, but I got no hope against the rest of you guys. So I'll quit now instead of delaying the inevitable. Roshi simply shrugged and sat down. Suit yourself, pussy. Goku turned to Nana. Well then, looks like you're up, ready to see how the training went. She stood up, smiling. You know it. I'm fighting Vegeta's kid, right? Yup. Good luck. With that, Nana and Trunks jumped onto the stage, her smile never leaving. Izuku watched with more interest and curiosity than any of the previous battles. The bell rang and they launched at each other, matching each other's punches and kicks. It would seem they were perfectly even. They jumped back from each other and resumed their fighting stances. I am impressed, but that shouldn't be surprising since you have been training with Goku. Why, thank you. Trunks smirked. Looks like I'll go up a gear. Ah! He charged up and with a flash of golden light he transformed into a Super Saiyan. Nana smirked. I'm flattered you have to go that far for little old me. Izuku's eyes were widened and unblinking. What did he just do? He changed his hair. Izuku was overwhelmed by what he saw. Unlike everyone around him, he couldn't sense energy levels, but just by looking at the now blonde-haired boy, he could tell he was powerful. That's Super Saiyan form. Full-blood Saiyans and half-Saiyans have the ability to make this transformation with the right training and mental mindset. However, this is only the first transformation. These guys can go beyond and further with their power, Piccolo explained to young Midoriya. Izuku listened to the Namekian's words and continued staring in shock. If that's true, then they could be more powerful than All Might and All for One combined. The idea of it is insane. Trunks charged forward, kicking and punching, with Nana just barely keeping up. Eventually he stopped, which made her smirk. My turn. Small sparks began shooting off her body. One for all. 50%! She leaped forward, going on the offensive, giving Trunks a hard time trying to defend, but he held up. She grinned. 60%. The slight increase was enough to turn the tables and made an opening big enough to perform a Detroit smash at a 100% into his chest. The powerful punch sent the Saiyan out of bonds effortlessly. Damn it, how did she beat me? She appeared next to him a few reasons. 1. The intense training I did with Goku not only improved myself as a regular fighter, but also increased the strength of my quirk. So I'm 10 times more powerful now than when I was alive. 2. Your Saiyan pride made you overconfident, same as Pan and Goten. So you were holding back. You could have easily defeated me if you gave it your all. You know it and I know it. He sighed, admitting she was right. He shouldn't have gotten cocky. And now it's time for the final battle of the first round. Izuku stood up and nervously made his way to the stage. You can do it, Izuku, shouted Inko. Nana sat down, arms crossed, watching the young boy. Let's see if you picked a good one, Toshi. Izuku looked around for his opponent. He never found out which one was Raditz, and was becoming a bit more nervous when no one from the observation area walked out. The Grand Minister landed on the stage and tapped his staff, and suddenly a man wearing the same armor as Bardock and Jine. He looked similar to Goku but had long hair that went past his legs. But the main difference Izuku noticed was his face. Rather than being happy and positive like Goku, it was replaced with anger and rage. Izuku gulped. You're Raditz, huh? The man smirked. That would be correct. And you must be the first person I get to kill. Izuku's face turned white at that statement. Raditz turned to see his family watching and he frowned, seeing his parents and brother. But what really made his blood boil was laying eyes on Vegeta. As soon as I'm done with boy, I'm coming for you, Prince. Vegeta chuckled. Is that so? You got a grudge against me? Raditz sneered at him. You betrayed me and Nappa for your own selfish gain. Now look at you, happily married to the Earthland scum. Your father would be disgusted if he saw why you've become. Bulma was obviously offended, but Vegeta spoke up. Say what you will, but the fact is you're a weakling. I'm 1,000,000 times more powerful than you realize. Everyone here is capable of defeating an ant such as yourself, so I'm looking forward to watching the green-haired boy there kick your worthless ass. Raditz turned to face Izuku. This kid? He's basically shaking in his boots and he has to face me alone. And you're confident in saying he'll defeat me? He grinned devilishly. I'm gonna so enjoy proving you wrong, Vegeta. Izuku took up a fighting stance. I know nothing about this guy, but the guy up there thinks I can win, so I must stand some kind of chance. I'll have to play it by ear till I find out what he's capable of. Find a weakness and expose it. Raditz stood up straight with his arms apart. I'm feeling generous, boy. You may take the first punch, 'cause I'm certain it's the only one you'll get. Izuku versus Raditz. Izuku stared at Raditz. Is he serious? He wants me to hit him? Is he really that powerful, overconfident, or just bluffing me to catch me off guard? Doesn't matter, I'm gonna hit him hard. But that doesn't mean I have to punch him. Izuku took up a stance and positioned his finger into a flicking position and raised his arm. Raditz raised a brow but stayed in his pose. What are you doing? He grumbled. Oh, this is just my Delaware smash. A T40%. Izuku's arm sparked green as he flicked his finger at Raditz, sending an incredible amount of air pressure towards him. What the? Raditz crosses his arms together for defensive, but the pressure sends him sliding back to the edge of the ring. Izuku flexed his fingers. Damn. If I used 45% he would have been out for sure, but if I did that I could have damaged my finger like before. Even using 40% was too much. It feels fragile now. Anything more I do it'll break for sure. Raditz stepped away from the ring edge furiously. Why, you little brat? Izuku smirked. I thought you said I got a free hit, and I'm pretty sure you had to defend yourself. Raditz continued walking towards him. So you're a little stronger than you look. The outcome of the battle won't change. Although I didn't have a body in hell, I still managed to train. I eventually became stronger than the pathetic Genu Force. I got no idea who they are, but I assume I was meant to be impressed by that. Raditz frowned. Obviously, I'll need to demonstrate for you. In a flash he appeared behind Izuku, launching a kick, but he managed to block it. What? How? Izuku pushes him back. Well, everyone I watched fight seemed to be moving faster than I could see. So I took a trick from my friend Mirio's playbook and tried to predict your movements. To my surprise it was kinda too easy, since you're slower than everyone else I watched fight. You little bastard. Raditz fired a blast into Izuku's arm, making him grab hold of his wound, cringing in pain. If I'm as slow as you say I am and as predictable, you should have seen that coming. He throws a punch at Izuku but manages to dodge it. A barrage of punches and kicks came towards Izuku. He activated his full cowling at 18% and did everything he could to dodge and block the Scion's attacks. He managed to find an opening and performed a Detroit smash into Raditz's chest. Unfortunately he couldn't think clearly to control how much he used, but assumed he roughly used 65% since he felt his bones in his hand and arms break, and managed to crack the scions tumbled landing on his back began coughing up blood. Izuku groaned and bit his lip in pain as he held his broken arm. Damn it, I used too much. Inko gasped and tears began to stream down her cheeks. Izuku, no. Gohan and Goten stared in shock. He broke his arm. From his own attack. Goku and Piccolo mimicked the two half-scions. That's insane. I've never seen anything like it. I know. Goku turned to Nana. Hey, this kid is meant to have your quirk, right? What's going on? Nana crossed her arms watching the boy. He doesn't have full control over it yet. Judging by his performance, I'm guessing he can only use 35% without injuring himself. He's either a slow learner or Toshi only recently made him inherit the quirk within the last 9 months. Inko looked towards Nana with watery eyes. Inherit? What do you mean? Nana looked at the woman. Tell me about your son's quirk. Well, he only just somehow got it. Just before he did the entrance exam to get into UA. Nana raised a brow at this. So wait. Before the exam he didn't have a quirk? Well, so we thought. For all his life he assumed he was quirkless, but then it appeared. Nana looked back towards young Midoriya. Has quirkless, huh? I guess you see a bit of yourself in him, Toshi. I need to know more about him to understand why you picked him. Goku looked at Inko. So he doesn't have powers? I thought he would have got your power at least. What was his father's power? Inko stiffened at his question. Bai was relieved when Daichi stepped in. Not much is known about his father, but I can say I'm confident that he is quirkless. Bulma looked towards and, how do you know? Oh, you know me, I just happen to know. He gives a subtle wink to Inko, then everyone turns back to the fight. Izuku stood there panting, trying to mentally deal with the pain, but looked up to see Raditz getting to his feet in just as much pain as him. Damn you. He coughs and wipes the blood from his mouth. I'm embarrassed by the fact I've been damaged so much by a child. I'm even more embarrassed that I have to take desperate actions. Izuku's eyes widened. What do you mean? Raditz formed some kind of blue light orb in his hand, making all the Z fighters go wide-eyed. He wouldn't. Goku exclaimed. That's not what I think it is it? Gohan asked. He's got Bloods waves, yelled Vegeta in surprise. Jean and Bardock looked away at the discovery. But the Grand Minister noticed. No need to worry. As long as you're here you won't be affected by the Bloods waves. Only those in the ring will be. Inko looked at Goku. What are Bloods waves? Nana bumped in before he got respond. I think we're about to find out. Izuku stared at the orb. What is that? He cringed as the pain returned to his attention. It was bad enough Raditz blasted a wound into him, but the broken bones just make it unbearable. But Raditz caught his attention again. You're dead now. He throws the orb towards the sky burst. Open and mix. Izuku took a step back, watching the light intensify and grow larger above them. What are you doing? Raditz began chuckling, making Izuku look down at him. Oh, I'm gonna enjoy crushing you under my boot. Izuku stared and froze on the spot. Raditz has a familiar look in his eye that he has only seen in one other person who struck the same kind of fear into him once before. Hero Killer Stan. Suddenly Izuku could hear a loud heartbeat. It was slow at first, but it began to beat faster and Raditz's laugh grew with it. What's going? Then the transformation begun. Raditz's size began to increase, his eyes changed to red. A muzzle began to grow with normal teeth turning into fangs. Only now did Izuku notice that he had a tail. As the Saiyan continued to grow and grow, he began to become covered in fur. The ground beneath him cracked and shattered from the increasing weight. The armor he wore grew with him. He then suddenly stopped growing, and so did his laughter. He let out a loud roar, leaving Izuku shaking uncontrollably. Isn't this a little extreme? Raditz looked down at the boy and grinned. Then opened his mouth, shooting a purple beam at him. Izuku yelped before diving out of the way. He activated full cowling at 20% and continued to dodge the ape's attacks. From foot stomping, rubble throwing and the non-stop beam attacks. This continued on for many minutes. Izuku was struggling with the pain but was determined to find a way to beat this guy without damaging himself even more. Gohan shouted out to him his tail. Izuku cut off his tail. It's his weakness, added Piccolo. Izuku gave a quick glance towards, acknowledging he heard them. Okay, tail. But how do I cut it? He continued dodging, processing what to do. I'm sure these guys have a way to cut it, but I don't have it to do it. I doubt Black Whip would be able to do it, but the main one for all power couldn't possibly smash the tail off. Wait, Black Whip, I don't have to cut his tail at all. Deku led the giant beast towards the edge of the ring but made sure that it wasn't obvious he was setting a trap. The monkey follows and continued shooting beams. Izuku took a deep breath and actives Black Whip. He wrapped it around Raditz's leg and used full cowling to bounce around, wrapping it around and around. Nana stared in shock at the sudden appearance of this new quirk, but smiled when she recognized the moves Izuku was using. So you've done some training with him to Gran. I'm starting to like this kid. Raditz roared in frustration, trying to get free. Izuku took this as a chance and jumped upwards towards the beast's head shoot style. 100%. Izuku delivered a powerful kick against Raditz's ape jaw, causing teeth to break and blood to fly. The force was more than enough to trip Raditz and send him off the edge of the ring. The great ape roared in defeat, echoing as he fell. Izuku landed on his bad arm, screaming in pain from the impact. He made himself sit up and groaned, seeing the state of his leg. He looked around to see where Raditz ended up. Where is he? Izuku suddenly appeared in front of everyone. He's been sent back to hell. He's not exactly polite company to keep around, answered Whis. Izuku nodded and looked at everyone who was staring at him with looks of shock. He looked down, ashamed of injuring himself so badly over a tournament battle. Guess I'm out. I can't fight on like this. Goku smiled and looked towards Krillin. Yo. Got any senzu beans? Krillin pulled out a bag like I'd come to a fight without him. He tossed them towards Goku that he caught with ease, and pulled out one, offering it to Izuku. Here, eat this. Izuku began to laugh quietly that eventually grew louder. Everyone, especially Goku, looked at the boy extremely confused. Izuku wipes his face with his good arm and apologized. Sorry. It's just All Might said something like that to me once and it's just a funny memory. Nana giggles quietly, think her successor must have done the same thing to this boy that she did to him. Goku shrugged. Oh, okay. Well, anyway, just take one. Izuku shrugged as well and took the small bean, eating it. As soon as he swallowed, he felt energy rush through him, suddenly no pain. He looked at his leg and arm to see they were both completely healed. He jumped to his feet, then began flexing and stretching. Wow, that's amazing. I feel awesome. He actives full cowl and begins jumping and flipping around the place. I feel great. Inko stared wide-eyed. It's like someone just gave her boy a lethal injection of caffeine or something. Goku smiled, watching the boy, then the Grand Minister spoke. And so Izuku Midoriya is the winner. Now, we begin the second round of the tournament. Yay, more fighting, cheered the Omni Kings. Gohan and 17 stared each other down, both panting. I'm impressed. 17, you've gotten stronger, said Gohan. 17 simply chuckled and looked at him. Don't feed me that crap, Gohan. I know you've been holding back. Was it because you're trying to save your energy for later, or wanted to make me feel like I had a chance at winning? Gohan simply shrugged, maybe a little bit of both. 17 shook his head and resumed his fighting stance. Well, don't hold back any longer. 17 jumps forward towards Gohan, launching an array of blast attacks. Gohan blocks and dodges them. 17 now appears in front of him and headbutts Gohan. Gohan cringed but grabs 17's head and starts spinning him around and throws him out of the ring. As 17 appears next to 18, he simply sits down, relaxing. Man, I thought that was never going to end. 18 rolled her eyes. Just mind my seat for me. She flies past Gohan on her way to the ring, with Bardock landing behind her. They eye each other off. So you're Goku's dad, right? Bardock raises a brow. You mean Kakarot? 18 nodded. Yes. Only you Saiyans call him that. Everyone else calls him Goku. I'm aware of that. The old guy with the mustache kinda explained things to me. She nodded and took a fighting stance, and so did he. The Grand Minister rung the bell, beginning the fight. They dive at each other, throwing and dodging attacks. They seem even for a moment, but doesn't take long for 18 to overwhelm the Saiyan veteran. Sending a ki blast to his chest, she manages to swiftly send him out of the ring. Bardock appears back next to Jean and sits down, frustrated. Damn. I barely had time to think of a strategy. She's too fast. 18 floated up and retook her seat. Nana elbowed Izuku. You need to watch this next fight, kid. Chances are you won't see anything like it again. Izuku looked at the former holder of One for All, then turned back to the stage to see Goku and Vegeta standing off, both smirking. I've been waiting a long time for this, Kakarot. Grinned Vegeta. Oh really? Well, I better not disappoint you then, responded Goku. Today I will defeat you, clown, yelled Vegeta as he transforms into his Super Saiyan Blue form. Goku chuckles and follows suit, also making the transformation. Izuku simply stared at the overwhelming amount of power and the magical beauty of the aura around them. The power he sees coming off them is so much more greater than Trunks' transformation that there's no words to describe it. Even saying it's 1,000,000 times more powerful would be considered an understatement. Nana could see the boy was clearly overwhelmed by what he saw. It's crazy to see, isn't it? And to think these guys don't have quirks and they're more powerful than all the top pros combined. That fact was still something Izuku struggled to comprehend, that these guys don't have quirks, But if they're quirkless, does that mean that he could somehow get to be like them if he never meet All Might? Not likely, since this kind of power has been lost to time and no one in modern society is even aware that it existed. Izuku got pulled out of his thoughts when he heard the two Saiyans yell and charged at each other. The blows they threw at each other sent shockwaves that managed to not only crack and damage the ring they thought on, but shook the observation stands. They fought hard and fast that no one except the Omni Kings, Whis, Grand Minister and Beerus could see what was happening. Eventually the two backed off, both bloody and bruised. Goku had his clothes torn apart but his shirt remained intact, while Vegeta had half the chest section of his armor missing. Vegeta began to power up and took on a stance. "This is it, Kakarot. Right here, right now. I will defeat you." Goku simply replied by also powering up. "If this is what you want." Goku took up his pose. Me. Me. Vegeta continues powering up. Gultic. Gun. He fires his purple beam towards Gokus, but Goku replies in keened ha. Goku blue beam fires at Vegeta, and both beams collide, stopping each other halfway. Both fighters struggle to get the upper hand. The mass-off energy in the center of the two beams only seems to grow instead of being pushed in either direction. The shock becomes intense enough that the protective shields set in place by the Grand Minister aren't enough to protect the stands. And surely enough, the stands begin to crack under the pressure. Suddenly the center energy explodes, creating an intense shock that neither fighters or audience could stand against. Vegeta gets thrown out of the ring. Goku flies into a piece of rubble, changing his direction before also flying out of the ring. Everyone in the stands is thrown hard into their seats, hanging on for dear life till the waves eventually stop. Vegeta and Goku appear next to each other, panting exhaustedly, and collapse on the ground. Krillin strolls over, rubbing his head, and offers the two Saiyans a senzu bean. "So, what happened?" asked Goku as he began chewing on the bean. Whis walked over. "Well, it would seem that you two came to a draw, in that battle," Vegeta growled. "So what, neither of us won?" Whis smirked. "Well, if you'll want to get technical, Goku, since you fell out of the ring before he did." "What?" Vegeta was fuming. "Allow me to explain. At the moment of explosion you were immediately thrown out. Goku would have followed the same fate, but he instead crashed into a piece of debris, which allowed him to stay in the ring just a few seconds longer." Goku pouted. "You mean I only won because of something like that? That's just dumb luck." Goku was clearly disappointed with how he won, and Vegeta was no different. "Think what you will, Goku, but that's the fact of the matter," replied Whis. While this conversation took place, Grand Minister took the opportunity to repair the stage and the protective shields. Then Roshi and Tane took their place in the ring. "This feels familiar, doesn't Jackie?" smirked Tane. Roshi raised a brow and chuckled. "Goodness, that's a name I haven't heard in years. But this won't be the same as last time. You and I both know I let you win that day, so this time I won't be holding back." Roshi instantly bulked up. Izuku stared in amazement. "Wow, he's just like All Might. He has a weak form and a hero form." Roshi's eye twitches and he turns to the boy. "Weak? Who you calling weak? I'm a master of material arts, the Turtle Hermit. Show some goddamn respect." Izuku shrank into embarrassment. "Oh, shut up, you old coot. The boy was complimenting you, you idiot," yelled Bulma. This caused a laugh from everyone around her, which helped Izuku relax a little. "Sorry to interrupt your ranting, but this is a fight, old-timer." Tine takes up a fighting pose, but Roshi doesn't seem to notice. Tine coughs, but still no reply. Tine stares in confusion and points a finger at Roshi. Dodon Ray?" He launches a beam, hitting Roshi in the head, sending him flying out of the ring. Roshi appears in the stands. "Hey, I wasn't ready." Whis interrupted. "The fight had begun, and you left yourself unguarded. Honestly, I thought you'd be wiser than that." Roshi sat down in disappointment as Tine returns to the stands. "With all due respect, I'd like to pull out of the fighting." Everyone turns in surprise, wanting an explanation. "I didn't earn that victory how I wanted. There was no honor in it. So I'd like to pull out." Grand Minister nodded. "Very well, if that is your choice. Now, the next match." Nana smirked, standing up. "Okay, kid, let's see what Toshi has taught you." Izuku stood up in confusion. "Toshi? You know him better as All Might. He did give you one for all, didn't he?" Izuku stared up at her. "She already knows who I am." They both appeared on the ring and took a fighting stance. The Omni Kings ring the bell to signal the start of the battle between the two holds of One for All. Izuku versus Nana, Deku's father revealed. Izuku stood in a fighting stance but was still noticeably overwhelmed by his opponent. Judging from her earlier fight, she's still capable of One for All, and can easily go toe-to-toe with these guys. But how is that possible? I'm at a huge disadvantage against her, especially since I don't have full control of One for All yet. It's extremely likely she does too, and the other quirks it inherited. Wait, If she knew, wouldn't she have told All Might? All Might knew nothing about the other quirks and neither did Gran Torino. I might still have a chance. Nana stood with her arms crossed and annoyingly tapping her foot. Come on, kid. Don't tell me your quirk is mumbling nonsense. Izuku shook his head out of thought, remembering that he was in a fight and shouldn't be overthinking the situation. Nana put her hands on her hips. You are Toshi's student, correct? All Might? Yeah. I'm his student at UA. Izuku replied, causing Nana to raise a brow. Not what I meant, but interesting still. So, Toshinori has taken up a teaching career, huh? Didn't think I'd see that coming, but not important. The point I'm trying to make is that you're the new inheritor of One for All, aren't you? Izuku simply nodded, thinking there's no point denying it to her good. My understanding from speaking to your mother is that you're born quirkless, then suddenly you got a quirk, which I assume was One for All being handed to you, Nana said as she casually walked towards Izuku. Yeah. That's it. So care to explain that little trick you used to knock over the monkey? I know that's not a martial arts technique or a power-using ki. I've dealt with Goku and his friends longer enough to tell, and it's obvious with your fighting style that you use All Might's fighting style, and no martial arts whatsoever. So that leads me to believe that this is quirk-related, am I wrong? Damn, she's good, yeah. It's called Black Whip. I'm surprised you know nothing about it, answered Izuku, still staying on guard in a fighting stance. Nana looked at the green-haired boy in confusion. Why would I know about it? Well, recently All Might and myself discovered that One for All has the ability to also inherit the original quirk of its user. So not only does it grow in strength with each person it passes on to, but also gains more quirks. Nana simply blinked at Izuku's response before replying. So you have at least 7 or so quirks including mine? Izuku simply nodded yeah. Although I've only just learnt about Black Whip and still learning how to control it. I'm not strong enough to unlock the other quirks yet. Nana smiled and took up a stance. Well, you've given me a new goal to train towards. But for now, let's just see if you're worthy of the power you inherited. Izuku prepared himself as Nana activated One for All and kicked at him. He dodged it, activating full cowling. He attempted a counterattack, but she blocked it effortlessly. Izuku leaped and began bouncing around the ring. Nana watched. So you've adopted Gran Torino's tricks into your quirk, I see. Although I can see you changed them with someone else's fighting style. Clever but not. She turned and jammed her knee into Izuku's stomach as he attempted an attack at the last moment. Good enough, yelled Nana as Izuku rolled into his side, gasping for air. Damn it! Nana dove at Izuku, making a crater where she once stood. Izuku flipped out of the way from her smash and lands on his feet in a defensive pose. Crap. The odds are greatly against me in this fight, but... Izuku couldn't stop himself from smirking. I can't help but feel a little excited, he announced with determination. Everyone in the stands went wide-eyed and turned to Goku. Goku blinked and looked around. Why's everyone giving me that look for? Maybe because the kid basically quoted you, Dad. Are you sure you don't know him? Asked Gohan. No, I've never met him ever. I only know his mother Inko, responded Goku, this causing everyone to look at her. She instantly turned white, shaking on the spot, feeling the eyes staring at her. I've been meaning to ask, how do you two know each other? Quizzed Bulma. Well, you see... Inko tried to answer, but seeing her discomfort with the situation, Whis stepped in to assist. As you may recall, Goku asked for 2 wishes. One which gave the people of Earth quirks. The other was for Goku to spend 24 hours visiting the new world of quirks. Inko and Goku meet during his 24-hour visit. Everyone nodded understandingly, until Chi-Chi began to twitch due to a theory developing in her head. Inko, how old is Izuku? Chi-Chi asked the green-haired woman. Oh, he's 16. Goku, you were on Earth that long ago, weren't you? Goku was oblivious to the trap Chi-Chi was setting for him. Yup, that's right, he said proudly. Everyone was staring, jaws on the ground, at Goku Kakarot. You idiot, cringed Vegeta. Goku, I want you to be completely honest with me. Did you sleep with Inko? Demanded Chi-Chi. Inko and Goku screamed in fear at the discovery. Inko instantly began bowing to Chi-Chi. Please forgive me, I'm so sorry. Chi-Chi looked at Inko. I'm not blaming you. I'm going to assume he saved you and swept you off your feet, right? Inko nodded, tears streaming down her cheeks. Just as I thought. It's not your fault, but he should know better. Goku cringed and his behind Piccolo. Don't hide behind me, you coward. Common Piccolo. You know what she's like. You're dead, Goku. Chi-Chi charged and tackled Goku, and began slamming his head into the ground. Gohan and Goten held back Chi-Chi as Goku weakly began to crawl away. Calm down, Mom. I'm not thrilled about this either. Gohan tried calming his mother. You don't get it. Everyone looked at her. I'm not mad that he cheated on me. He's an idiot, but we still love each other. Inko walked over to them wondering what Chi-Chi was upset about. The problem is that there's a boy down there who has grown up without his father. Inko has had to raise him alone. I raised Gohan and Goten alone and it was difficult, but they knew who Goku was. And eventually Goku come back to them. Goku stood up and rubbed his head and looked towards Inko. Is it true? Inko nodded. I only just found out myself that you're his father. Goku turned to the boy who was doing everything he can to defend himself against Nana. Does he know? Inko shook her head and wiped her tears. Meanwhile, unknown to them in the middle of the fight, Nana managed to listen in on the conversation that took place. She grinned. So the son of Goku is the holder of One for All. He may become the greatest hero in the world yet. I'm impressed with how he fights. But he can do more with the right teacher. Izuku stood there panting with his muscles straining to their limit without breaking. You did good, kid. Be proud. Learn what you can from this fight. Nana gave a smile to the boy before giving a salute to him and falling backwards out of the ring. Izuku blinked in confusion and watched Nana reappear in the stands. Oh no, I feel out of the ring. She giggled. Krillin pouted. You're a terrible actor. Nana shrugged in response and looked at Goku. I think you know why I lost. Goku nodded. Yeah. Thanks, I owe you one. Yes you do, Saiyan. She chuckles and takes a seat as a tired Izuku stumbles back into the stands. Hey, can I get another one of them beans? Krillin hands him one. Don't eat too many, these things can keep you filled up for a while. Izuku nodded and thanked the small bald man before eating the bean. While this took place, Goku asked to keep the truth from Izuku until he himself would tell him. Everyone agreed, and so Gohan and 18 stood into the ring to begin the next battle. Son versus the unknown father, Deku versus Goku. League of Villains hideout laboratory. Shigaraki walked past the tubes filled with the next generation of Nomu, as he made his way to the creator of them. Doctor, you wish to discuss something with me? The doctor turned to face the decay villain and nodded. Yes, as you are aware, these Nomu are more powerful than anything the world has seen so far. Shigaraki crosses his arms. Yeah. So what's your point? The doctor grinned. I can make them better. How so? Shigaraki asked with curiosity. The doctor simply leaned back in his chair. Before the time of Quirks, there once was a scientist who worked for a military power called the Red Ribbon Army. He developed androids, ultimate warriors that had more power than the army itself. He later developed the perfect android. Using DNA of all his enemies and allies, he made the perfect weapon with no equal. Shigaraki was so far interested in this tale. If it was so perfect, how come it's still not around? And I haven't heard of it. It is believed the android was defeated by a martial artist named Hercule Satan. But any history before the development of Quirks is non-existent and impossible to find the truth. But I believe we can find the work of the scientist and apply it to the Nomu. Imagine it, a Nomu with the DNA of All Might, Endeavor, Eraserhead, and even All for One's DNA. It'll be the most powerful being the world has seen. Shigaraki smirked. The idea of All Might destroying himself and his world of peace just by some clever bioengineering is a wonderful thought. How do we pull this off? The doctor turned to his computer and showed a location. I believe the scientist had a backup lab here in case his main one was discovered and destroyed. It won't have any physical parts of his work, but should at least have his notes to help him start from scratch. Shigaraki nodded. I'll get someone to work on it. What was this guy's name anyway? The doctor smiled proudly as he spoke the name Dr. Gero, Null Realm. 18 groaned as she reappeared next to Krillin after being kicked out by a combination of Gohan's ki blasts and punches. Gohan joined the stands panting heavily and cringing in pain as he sat down. He may have won the fight, but 18 sure as hell made him work for it. 18, noticed the Saiyan cringing. Surely I didn't hurt you that bad? Gohan shrugged. You back a fair beating, 18. So it pains me to admit it may have hurt a little. She rolled her eyes with a chuckle. Meanwhile, Izuku and Goku made their way to the ring. Izuku watched Goku and noticed his attitude was different. Instead of being cheerful and positive, he seemed to be completely focused. Izuku's thoughts were stopped when Goku spoke. You're aware you can't win, right? Izuku looked down for a moment but looked up with determination. I might not be able to beat you. But that doesn't mean I shouldn't try. Even if everything is against me, I won't give up, because heroes never give up and fight to the end. Goku couldn't help but smile at the boy's response. I'm glad to hear it, Izuku. I'll make you a deal then. Izuku raised his brow. A deal? Yup. I'll give you 6 minutes. If you can hit me in 6 minutes, you've won the match. But if you can't, then I'm knocking you out of the ring. Izuku considered his offer. What's the catch? No catch. I just wanted to give you a fighting chance. Izuku nodded. He no reason to doubt him so far, so he agreed. Goku took up a fighting stance in a defensive position while Izuku took one in an offensive position. The Grand Minister rung the bell to signal the start of the fight. Izuku activated full cowling and charged forward attacking. Goku stood up straight and seemed to be not moving but somehow dodging. Izuku tried to predict Goku's moves but would always still be too slow. Izuku panted as Goku crossed his arms. "You're too used to following your enemy with your eyes, although you have got a bit of an idea of predicting my movements, but that's all guessing, isn't it?" Izuku simply nodded. "I thought so. What you need to do is listen and feel out your enemy's energy. That way you can actually predict the movements instead of guessing." "Energy? Like those weird blast things everyone here can do?" asked Izuku. Goku nodded. "It's called ki. Every living thing has it. We've all just learned how to use it and apply it to fighting." Izuku thought about it. "So it's not a quirk. It's something naturally in everyone. But because everyone has a quirk now, this whole ki thing has been forgotten." Goku nodded. "That's right. Although back when I was alive, people hardly knew about it then too. Only a select few dedicated to martial arts learn it." Izuku sighed. If he knew about this, then maybe he wouldn't have been such a quirkless loser and actually been able to do something. The only reason he got to where he is because of All Might giving him a quirk. Goku noticed the boy having a mental battle with himself. "You were born quirkless, right?" Izuku looked up and nodded. "I'm guessing that's not a secret. You saw me fight Nana and saw our power is similar. And no doubt she has told you about how our quirk works." Goku nodded. "That's right. You had a tough time as a kid." Izuku didn't answer as his eyes began to water, remembering the pain of his tormented childhood. Goku placed his hand on the boy's shoulder. "I'm sorry, Izuku. I can't help but feel that you not having a quirk is my fault." Izuku wiped his tears. "Why would it be your fault?" Goku took in a deep breath. "Because I'm your father, Izuku. And I'm quirkless." "What?" Izuku stared up at the man in complete shock. His face pale and eyes glazed over, trying to process this. "I only just found out myself, but it's true." Izuku was stiff and not moving and not responding. Nothing Goku or anyone said to the boy would break him out of his mental shock and trance. Eventually the 6 minutes ended, and Izuku was still unresponsive. Goku gently carried him out of the ring to the stands where Inko was in pure panic trying to get her baby boy to respond. What seemed like an hour, the boy eventually came to his senses. He looked to see his mother and himself sitting alone. "Mom, is it true?" Inko began to cry and told her son the full story, how she met Goku and fell pregnant, and had thought that Hisashi was his father till she met Wiz. Izuku processed this and understandably was overwhelmed with this. He hugged his mother and stood up to find Goku. He found him sitting alone in what appeared to be in deep thought. Goku looked over his shoulders to see Izuku. "Good to see you moving around, kid." Izuku sat next to him and stared straight ahead. "So you're my dad?" "So I've been told. And seeing how passionate you are of becoming a hero, I can for sure see myself in you." Izuku looked up at him. "You said that it was your fault that I'm quirkless. What did you mean by that?" Goku turned to the boy. "I believe that the cyan blood that runs in your veins overwhelms the quirk part." "Cyan blood?" Izuku looked confused as Goku began to explain. "Yeah, well, Vegeta and I are Saiyans, a warrior race from another planet, and we really like fighting. You're a half Saiyan, half Earthling. Same as Gohan and Goten." Izuku blinked, processing the information. "I'm half an alien? Well, that's one of putting it. Oh wow, this is a lot to handle, I understand that. But there's something I want you to know." Izuku looks at Goku, wondering what he's gonna tell him. "You're strong now because of your quirk and the hero training. But you're capable of so much more. It's just unfortunate that no one has the knowledge to teach you. With the quirk you have and the power of a Saiyan, you are more than capable of being something incredible." "Izuku." Izuku looked at his hands and clenched his fists. "I need to learn this Saiyan power that's in me, but how and where do I begin?" Gohan walks over to interrupt. "Sorry to bother you both, but we gotta right now, Dad." Goku jumps to his feet, stretching, and looks to Izuku. "I know you're having a tough time process everything, but once this little tournament is over, we'll talk in more detail before you and your mother return to Earth. Okay?" Izuku nodded, and Goku walked off, giving a thumbs up to the young boy. Gohan walks alongside Goku. "Ready to lose, Dad? Wow, someone sounds cocky." "Nah, I'm just feeling confident." "Haha, okay. Let's see how far that confidence gets you, son." Both Saiyans jumped into the ring facing off. The final battle of the tournament is about to begin. Who wins and gets the Super Dragon Balls? Gohan stood in a defensive stance, panting heavily, looking around him. He finally relaxes, closing his eyes, searching for Goku's energy. Quickly opening his eyes wide and turning to his left. "There you are. He fires a ki blast towards a large rock, exploding it, forcing Goku to flee from it. Gohan fires another blast at Goku, but he dodges it by using his instant transmission to appear in front of Gohan. Too slow, Gohan. His punches Gohan in the stomach, causing him to gasp and cringe in pain, but quickly he launches his body forward, head-butting Goku. This caused him to go off balance, and allowed Gohan to grab a leg and begin to spin him around at great speed. He eventually let go, tossing Goku out towards the ring's edge. Quickly, Goku performs a Kamehameha wave, aiming it at the center of the ring, forcing him to accelerate the speed of him going out of bounds, which caused a few bystanders to watch in shock. But suddenly he once again uses instant transmission, appearing behind Gohan, and uses the speed and momentum he gained from the throw and wave to launch headfirst into Gohan, sending him flying out of bounds without a chance to defend himself from the attack. Gohan appears in the stands next to his family, sighing. "Thought I had him this time." Goku appeared in front of him, grinning. "Oh, you nearly did. You put up a good fight, son. Really had me on edge. I'm proud of you," he said, putting his hand on his shoulder, causing Gohan to smile at his father, proud of his efforts. Grand Minister appears in front of everyone, and so the winner of the tournament and the prize of 7 Super Dragon Balls is Goku. The Xenos cheered from their seats. "Wow, that was amazing. Awesome. So much fun. Oh yes, very fun." Goku smiled as the Grand Minister approached him. "So Goku, do you have a wish in mind?" Goku paused for a moment. I need time to think about it, if you don't mind." "Understood. Go and enjoy the rest of the party. We will grant your wish by the end of the day when you decide what to wish for." "Thanks. I appreciate it." And so the celebration and food eating continued. Gohan and Goten walk over to Izuku, who was sitting alone deep in thought. "Hey Izuku." Pulled out of his thought, he looked at the two. "Oh hey. What are you two doing here?" They both sit down beside him as Goten speaks. "Well, you are our little brother. So we thought we should hang out while we got the chance." Izuku blinked. "But brother?" Gohan chuckles. "Well, technically half-brother, but your family nonetheless." Izuku processed the words he heard. He'd spent all his life as a single child with an absent father that worked away to support him and his mother. Now suddenly he was part of a family with incredible talent and skill unlike anything he's ever seen. "So Izuku, quick question. How come you never went Super Saiyan during the tournament?" asked Goten. "Super Saiyan?" The green-haired boy was puzzled by the question. "Gohan noticed it. It's the transformation when we turn blonde and get amazing power. But it's pretty clear to me that you don't know about any of this stuff, because you've gone your whole life thinking that you're just Earthling." Izuku nodded. "Yeah. The power I have know is a quirk similar to the quirk Nana has, right?" Goten asked. "Yeah. In a way it's the same," added Izuku. The three brothers continued talking and learning about one another. They each learned the fights they've been part of. Eventually Gohan and Goten explained the Dragon Balls, and to Izuku's surprise, Earth has its own set. Meanwhile Goku was looking for Whis. "Yo Whis, got a sec?" Whis turned to Goku. "Yes Goku, you're a knowledgeable guy. I want to help Izuku with some training. But I don't want to wish myself back to life. So can you think of something?" Whis thought for a moment. "Well, technically as a dead person you can only stand on holy ground. Which is places like the planet of the Kais, Lord Beerus' planet and so forth. If I recall, Earth has a guardian and a lookout. Technically speaking that's holy ground. You can stand there and be on Earth but you can't leave it, so you should be able to meet and train your lost son there." "Really? You mean I could have gone back to the lookout this whole time?" Goku was excited. "This is great. But now I still got a problem of what to wish for." It is puzzling to know what to wish for, especially for you since you basically have everything you want." Goku rubbed the back of his head thinking, "Man, it's hard. Oh, I think I got it. Wow, couldn't believe I didn't think of it earlier." Whis raised a brow in curiosity. "Oh, and what would it be?" Goku leaned in and whispered his wish into Whis's ear. "Oh, that's a very generous wish, Goku. Thanks. But I need the timing to be right. Don't worry, I'm sure it'll work out just as you need it to." "Cool. So since the dragon only understands the divine language, I can just leave it with you to ask, right?" "Well, that's true. Very well. I'll asl the dragon to grant your wish." "Thanks, Whis." Goku pats Whis on the back before walking off looking for food to devour. And so Whis went off to grant Goku's wish. Back with the three brothers. They were now deep in conversation. "So this energy thing, ki I think you call it, how does one learn to use it? Like how do I begin to understand it if I want to try to be like you guys?" asked Izuku. Gohan thought for a moment. "Well, to begin you need to have an understanding of martial arts. That's one of the key things to know, and judging by your fighting style. You don't use martial arts, so I'm guessing you don't know any," added Goten. "No. My style is based off other people who develop their own fighting style to suit their quirk, replies Izuku. Well, that's your first step. I suggest you try out some martial art training. We'd help, but we don't exactly have the luxury of time on our side. Gohan said, looking at his young brother. Izuku nodded. I appreciate the thought, but at least you've given me somewhere to look. I'll just have to figure it out on my own. Goten patted Izuku's back. You won't have to do it alone. I'm sure we can find a way to help you if you need it. Remember, you can use the Earth's Dragon Balls. But I don't even know where to begin to find them. Use the Dragon Radar, answered Trunks, walking over to join the conversation. Dragon Radar? Questioned Izuku. Yeah. The Dragon Radar was invented by Bulma, Trunks' mom, and it's made specifically to find Dragon Balls, answered Gohan. Izuku listened with curiosity. Okay then, but how do I find it? Trunks stretched, thinking about it. Well, from memory, before I died, I gave it to my granddaughter as hand-me-down. She went on to marry some guy named Yayorozu. Izuku went wide-eyed. You're kidding me, really? Nope. We were both pretty rich families, so we'd meet at big events a lot. Eventually my granddaughter and the Yayorozu boy fell in love and married. But I was long dead before they tied the knot. Sounds like you know them. Trunks looked at Izuku as he replied, actually, I'm in the hero course with a Yayorozu. She's actually vice class president. Trunks smiled. Good, then you should be able to find the Dragon Radar, no problem. That's if they still have it. Izuku nodded. Yeah. But I honestly have no need for the Dragon Balls right now. So I'll hold off looking for them, unless I really need to, or it's an emergency. Gohan grinned. Well, you're for sure our brother after hearing that. Izuku smiled, knowing he spoke the truth. But if he learned about the Dragon Balls 2 years earlier, then he would have done anything to find them and to wish for a quirk. But now he'll only use them for good if a dark day ever comes that he need to find them. His thoughts were interrupted by Inko, who walked over to them. Sorry to bother you boys, but it's time for us to leave, Izuku, so you best say your goodbyes while you have the chance. Izuku sighed sadly and turned to his older brothers. They embraced each other for a moment. We'll meet again, Izuku. Take care, little bro. Izuku nodded, then went off to find Goku, who was saying goodbye to Inko. Inko saw the boy approaching and decided to give the two a moment. Izuku looked down. I didn't have enough time here. I wish I had time. Goku placed his hand on Izuku's shoulder. Time isn't a problem. We'll see each other again. Maybe sooner than you think. Izuku looked up at him. What do you mean? Goku simply winked. You'll just have to wait. But you'll find out when the time comes. Wiz and your mom awaiting, son. You better get going. Izuku looked towards his mother, and then back to his father, quickly hugging him tight, fighting back his tears. Goku held the boy and smiled. Just remember, Izuku, you can and will become a hero. It's in your blood. Izuku sniffled and wiped his tears. Thanks, Dad. With those last words he joined Wiz and Inko, and in a flash they had returned back to Earth. Izuku learns martial arts at UA cafeteria, 4 days later. Izuku sat and thought as he mindlessly ate his food. He thought about the tournament and what his brothers had told him. He needed to learn martial arts. But no one bothers learning old-school martial arts anymore. It's a tradition that people have ignored since the arrival of Quirks. Todoroki noticed his friend thinking deeply and decided to get his attention. Something on your mind, Midoriya? The green-haired boy shook his head and looked up at his scared friend. Oh, yeah, you could say something like that. Want to talk about it? Asked Todoroki as he casually ate his lunch. Well, I was just thinking I wouldn't mind learning some martial arts. Expand my range with what I can do with my quirk. Izuku pretty much told the truth, but not the whole truth, since it'd be hard to explain he just fought in a tournament with a bunch of dead people. Todoroki nodded. Not a bad idea. But you realize no one really studies that anymore, right? Izuku sighed. Yeah, that's the problem I'm having. Yayorozu eavesdropped on the conversation on her way to sit at another table and quickly thought of a solution to Midoriya's problem. Why don't you talk to Kendo? Both Izuku and Todoroki turned to face her. Kendo? You mean the class president of class 1 billion? Questioned Todoroki, and Momo simply replied yes. We spent some time together during our internships. I learned she was quite skilled in martial arts as it suits her quirk. It's also why her hero costume is designed the way it is. Izuku thought about it and remembered the fight between Kendo and Momo. She did show some interesting fighting tactics, but apart from that he never really seen her in action. I'm sure if you ask her, Midoriya, she might be able to help you out, Momo simply said as she continued on her way to have her lunch. Izuku started to look around for her. He became determined now to speak to her, and it was obvious his logical thinking hadn't caught up to him yet. Before Todoroki knew, Izuku was gone, walking around the cafeteria looking for Kendo. Izuku accidentally bumped into Monoma. Oh sorry, oh my, if it isn't Bonebreaker Midoriya. Izuku sighed, already annoyed where this was gonna hassle. Hey Monoma. I was actually looking for Kendo. Have you seen her? Even if I have, why would I tell you? No doubt you Class 1A sent you to try and seduce our beloved class president to weaken us. Since you're meant to be so better than us. He was cut off by a solid karate chop, making him fall to the ground. Kendo sighed, standing behind him, giving up on trying to catch him like she usually does. Honestly, you're over-paranoid, Monoma. She looked up at Izuku. So you were looking for me, huh? Well, here I am. Izuku looked up from Monoma and remembered he had to talk to a girl now. Oh, hey Kendo. You know martial arts, right? She simply shrugged. I know a thing or two. Could you teach me? Kendo raised a brow. Teach you? Why do you want to learn martial arts? Izuku took a deep breath. I just want to expand my knowledge in combat and understand the mental part of it better. Kendo smirked. The mental part, huh? You know, a lot of people get bored with that part of it. But if you're keen to learn, I suppose I can help. Kendo, you fool. He'll learn your weaknesses and turn them against you. She chopped Monoma again after his little outburst and walked around him. Your training starts tonight. You can join Uraraka. Izuku blinked. Uraraka? Yeah. After her internship with Gunhead, she's been trying to expand her fighting skills. We met in the gym a while ago and I've been helping her. So you can learn together, Kendo explained. So you just come with her tonight to the gym and we'll go from there. Kendo walked off, dragging Monoma with her, leaving Izuku to process the thought that he now has to train with not one but two girls. UA Class 1A dormitories, 8 p.m. Uraraka and Midoriya left to go train with Kendo the moment they both finished their homework. Momo walked towards the dinner table with a large box. Mina wondered over with curiosity. Yo, what's in the box? Momo placed down the box, opening it. Just a few things my parents sent me. Just some old antiques. Both girls peered into the box, and Momo pulled out an old typewriter. Curiously, the girls began to fiddle and play with it until it made a ding sound and reset itself. Haha, that's kinda cool, Mina thought, but got distracted by the sound of a crashing plate in the kitchen. Sorry, my bad, called out Zero as he walked out with the broken plate. Mina thought for a moment. Wait, do it again. She typed on the typewriter until it made a bing noise, and on cue, Zero broke what was left of the plate. Then Sato pulled out a bit of tape out of elbow, in an attempt to fix the plate. Mina grinned. Oh, I can feel something about to come together. She quickly began to search the box, throwing bits and pieces everywhere. Aida stormed towards, ready to give a lecture. This is highly inappropriate behavior. This is no for UA students to behave. In that moment, she tossed a trumpet towards him, making him catch it, blow it. Otherwise you're just proving to me you're no fun. He sighed and hastily blew the trumpet. Meanwhile, Mineta was making a low bowing sound with the balls on his head. Mina got Momo to hop back onto the typewriter. Everyone keep doing what they're doing, we're making gold. She pulled out her phone and encouraged Aida to keep playing, while everyone else gathered around to see what all the noise was about. Mina, shooby-doop dobby dop dobby doop dobby da da doo dap. Mina tapped the table in a drumming-like fashion. Mina, shooby-doop dobby dop dobby doop dobby da da dobby op. Kirishima, shooby-doop dobby dop dobby doop dobby da da doo dap. Class 1A, do bop she do woo. Eventually the whole class slowly began having caught up in the beat of the music they were making. Unknown to them, the sound was so loud that Aizawa was receiving noise complaints from the other dorms. So, to his great annoyance, he had to go put an end to it. The class still carried on making nonsense music with Mina, making sure it was all recorded for later use. Class 1A, do bop she do hoo, do bop she do hoo do bop she do hoo foo do bop she do hoof. After a few moments of panting and giggling, they eventually turned to see Aizawa, arms crossed, waiting patiently for the students to see him. Behind him stood Izuku and Ochako, who watched on in fear of their fellow classmates. I had received noise complaints from here, and to say I'm annoyed is an understatement. You all have an hour to clean up the mess you've just created, or I'll put you all under house arrest with the exception of these two, he said, pointing to the students that stood behind him. Then looked at his watch. The hour begins now, so get to it. They all began rushing around to clean up with no one dare speaking. Izuku and Ochako joined to help as best they could. Izuku began gathering Momo's things and placing them back into the box until he noticed something in it. He gently picked it up and glanced at it, then turned to Momo. Hey, what's this? Momo looked up to see what's in his hand and remember her mother telling her about it. It's a radar of some kind, made to find specific objects. Izuku stared at it longer. Is this a dragon radar? Momo thought about it and nodded, remembering her mother calling it that. You mind if I look at it? Just help us clean up, and you can do what you like with it. Just give it back, making sure it still works. Izuku nodded and continued cleaning. The class got the dorms back to how they were with 3 minutes to spare before the hour ended. Aizawa turned to leave. Don't pull off that kind of crap again, or I'll just expel the lot of you. He shut the door after announcing his threat. The class sighed in relief and suddenly heard a bing noise. They turned to the source of the sound, which was Mina, listening to the recording of the mayhem that just occurred, and to their surprise, it actually sounded good. 2 weeks later, Izuku and Ochako just finished their first sparring session with Kendo. They weren't allowed to use quirks, so Izuku had a bit of trouble defending himself against Ochako. At one point she had him pinned under her. They were so close they could feel each other's breath as they panted. For a moment they were lost, staring into each other's eyes until they realized what they were doing. This caused Ochako to jump away from Izuku and hide her blushing face in her hands, while Izuku later there staring at the ceiling. Kendo looked a back 40 between the two and chuckled. If she knew the two liked each other, she wouldn't have paired them up for training, but it might work for them in the long run. In the meantime, she took the opportunity to explain to Izuku what he was doing wrong. Izuku replayed the scenario in his mind, and what Kendo said as he walked back to the dorms with Ochako. They never spoke the whole way, both of them too embarrassed. As they arrived at the dorms, Izuku went straight to his room to grab a towel and a change of clothes for his shower. But there was someone waiting for him. As he stepped into the room, he saw a white cat standing upright on his bed. "You took long enough to get here?" Izuku simply stared at the cat. "It talks." "The cat talks," the cat chuckled. "Your principal is basically a super intelligent rat. You live in a world with superpowers and I'm the strangest thing you've seen? You humans crack me up." Izuku thought about it and the cat was right. He shut the door. "So you were looking for me?" The cat nodded yes. "Actually, I was sent here by your father." Izuku blinked. "My father? You mean Goku?" The cat nodded. "Yeah. Actually, I once trained him in my tower, but that's a story for another time. Come to think of it, I didn't introduce myself. The name's Korin." "Nice to meet you, Korin." "So why did my dad send you?" asked Izuku. "Well, young man, your father sent me to let you know that you can learn what you need at the lookout. But he understands that you have this whole school thing to do. So whenever you're ready, you must climb my tower and go to the lookout and begin your training." "Really? That's great. But how do I find your tower?" "A good question, my boy. You must travel to the sacred land of Korin. And once there you'll see the tower," answered Korin. Izuku nodded. "Okay. I'll find it. You're for sure your father's son. That I can see. Now before I forget, I have something to give you." Izuku watched with curiosity as Korin presented him with what appeared to be a red staff. "What's this?" "It's your father's power pole. You'll need it to get to the lookout. It can also be used as a weapon. By saying the words, 'Power pole extend,' the pole can extend to any length. Your father mastered this pole as a child." Izuku stared at the pole. He now had something that his father once owned. This was more special to him than he can describe. He simply bowed to the cat. "Thank you, Korin. No worries, kid. I'll see you when you decide to make the climb." Korin simply climbed out the window and jumped out, never to be seen again, leaving Izuku with Goku's power pole and a new adventure to go on. After his meeting with Korin, Izuku continued with his hero studies and his martial arts training with Kendo and Uraraka. He eventually worked out he could also get some tips from Momo on how to fight with his father's power pole, since her weapon preference seems to be a staff when using her creation quirk in combat. It was a late evening when Izuku was trying out some new techniques Momo told him during lunch. He had finished his weekly training with Kendo and was still pumped to keep going with training. He managed to pull off a few skills off before stopping to take a break. While he attempted to catch his breath, he could hear someone grunting and panting on the roof of the dorms. Curiosity got the better of him, and he stood up ready to activate one for all to leap up until he remembered the power pole next to him. He recalled the conversation he had with Korin, and realized he never actually tried to make it extend before. One way to find out. He held it and planted the bottom tip into the ground. What did I have to say? Oh, right, power pole extend. The power pole flowed before shooting up and dragging him along as he held on, extending taller than the building. Oh crap, oh crap, oh crap, oh crap, power pole? Retract? The power pole retracted to its original size, leaving the green-haired hero airborne, and began to fall towards the building. He flipped and prepared to tuck and roll the moment he hit the roof. But that never happened, since he felt a familiar slap across the face that made him float. He opened his eyes, looking at a familiar brunette as he rubbed his cheek. "Oh, hey Uraraka, what you doing here?" "Well, I was getting in some more training till you flew past on that giant stick," and released the moment she spoke the words. Izuku went wide-eyed as he landed on his head on the roof, instantly sitting up, cringing in pain. Normally Uraraka would feel bad for hurting him like that, but she felt like he deserves it. She sat down beside him, giggling. "That's what you get for being reckless." He sighed, looking towards her. "Sorry. I'm still learning how to use this. sitting down the power pole. Uraraka leaned over to grab and inspect it. I've been meaning to ask you about this. Is this a new support item Hatsune is making you test out? He chuckled. Nah, it's actually something that belonged to my dad. It got given to me recently. She nodded. Oh, okay. So you got plans for winter break? Since none of the teachers are actually giving us a break for once. Izuku thought for a moment. Well, I need to get somewhere but I don't know where it is. Uraraka gave him a confused look. Where is it you're trying to go? The land of Korin. I tried to find information about it on the internet but I can't seem to find anything about it. She rested her head on his shoulder as she went deep into thought thinking about her friend's problem. This caused Izuku to turn into a human tomato at the contact. He somehow managed to mentally control himself and stop himself from trembling. It became clear that Uraraka had no idea what she was doing as she was still deep in thought. Have you asked the teachers about it, or All Might even? She asked, look up at him, realizing how close they were making her shift away, instantly turn a darker shade of red than Izuku was, which didn't seem possible. Yeah, I just might do that. Okay, glad I could help. Deku, good night, yelled Uraraka as she bolted inside. Izuku sighed and looked up at the sky for a moment before texting All Might asking to meet up. Unknown to him, a certain invisible girl was also on the roof, and had managed to sneak a picture of both him and Uraraka together, and had sent it to the girls' group chat. Uraraka was about to step into her room when her phone got the notification. She heard Mina squeal in excitement from down the hall before she opened it, and saw the picture of her leaning and resting on Deku. She stiffened right up, turning crimson. Okay, I'm ready to die. God struck me down now. Meanwhile, Izuku had already jumped off the roof and was on his way to meet up with All Might in the teacher's lounge. He found the old symbol of peace pouring tea and sat before him. So, young Midoriya, what is it that you wanted to ask? He asked, sliding a cup towards Izuku. Do you know anything about a place called the Land of Korin? All Might sat back and thought, I recall a legend told to me by Native Americans about such a place when I last had visited the Shields in America a few years ago. Of course its name has been changed over years. Finally, Izuku has a lead. Does the legend talk about a tower? All Might nodded. Yes, it does, but it's all a legend. No one really knows where the Land of Korin is exactly. Izuku sighed, but still, it was better than nothing. Why do you want to know about it, young man? I need to climb the tower to learn about my hidden power. This caught All Might by surprise. Would this have something to do with that tournament you fought in a while ago? Izuku nodded. He told his master about the battles, but withheld information about his father and Nana. He wanted to find the right time to tell him that. All thoughts were interrupted by the sudden appearance of Wiz in the room. All Might began coughing and choking on blood in shock, and Izuku fell backwards in his seat. Wiz looked at the boy with a chuckle. I suppose I should have gave warning about my arrival. Izuku sat up looking at him. Yeah, you should have. Why are you here? All Might calmed down, looking at the fancy-dressed man in the room, as he answered, well, I couldn't help but notice you were having trouble find Korin's tower, so I came to give a bit of helpful advice. Izuku stood up. Okay, you got my interest. Well, Korin happens to have a Dragon Ball in his possession. The 6-star ball, if I remember correctly. Izuku thought about it, then clicked. That's great. I can just use the Dragon Radar to find him. Thanks, Wiz. Wiz looked at the boy in surprise. You have a Dragon Radar? Izuku nodded. Yeah. Turns out Momo is Trunks' great-granddaughter and she has it now. Luckily she said I could borrow it. All Might stepped in. The problem is you have limited time over winter break. All your time could be wasted just trying to get there. Izuku crossed his arms thinking, but All Might smiled. Leave that with me, young man. I might know someone who can help with your travel. Izuku looked up towards his master as All Might pulled out his phone and dialed a number. Hello, Melissa, I got a favor to ask. You remember the little jet you were working on? Is it ready? You need to test it. I think I have someone who can test it for you. Glad to hear it. I'll see you soon. Say hi to your dad. He hangs up the phone as Wiz and Izuku simply stared at him. Was that Melissa Shield? The boy asked, and All Might gave a simple nod as his answer. Well, seems you both have yourselves sorted, so I'll just take me leave. Announced Wiz. Could you say hi to everyone for me? Asked Izuku. Of course I will. With that, Wiz teleported out, leaving the 2-1 for all holders in the room. Start of winter break, UA dorms. Most of 1A had returned home to spend time with their families for the holidays. Izuku, however, was still in his room preparing for a trip to the unknown. With his bags packed, he sat up at his desk playing around with Momo's Dragon Radar. It was fortunately advanced enough that it was able to tell what numbered Dragon Ball was located where. So he was currently looking at the location of the 6-star ball. A knock on the door came and slowly opened to reveal Uraraka. Hey Deku, Melissa and All Might are outside waiting for you. He turned to face her, pocketing the radar. He gave her a warm smile as he walked to grab his bags, which made her heart skip a beat, but walked with him outside to where he saw a small jet about the size of a Mini Cooper car. Melissa was adding the final touches and making final checks until she saw the hero walk over. Izuku! She ran over and embraced the young hero, making the friend beside him stiffen with jealousy, but the moment was only short. Ready to test out the jet? As ready as I'll ever be. Good. This jet was designed by your friend Hatsume, but UA was limited in technology and materials, so fortunately she allowed me to build her baby. As she likes to put it. Izuku inspected for a moment. Is it difficult to pilot? Nah. No different from a video game. But that's for emergencies. The piloting will be down by an AI that programmed for it. You're basically just sitting back and supervising the flight. Izuku sighed in relief, so nothing complicated then, that's good. He loaded his things and gave Melissa the Dragon radar so she can type in the location coordinates that Izuku wants to travel to. He turned to say his goodbyes to everyone, shook All Might's hand, gave Melissa another hug. He turned to hug Uraraka, and they embraced for a moment. She quickly kissed his cheek and stood back blushing. Please be safe. Deku, she said, looking at the ground with a lovely shade of red. Izuku also shared the shade and simply nodded, unable to speak, and managed to make his body get into the jet. He started the engine and waved goodbye as the jet doors closed, and the AI began its flight sequence. With a loud burst of energy, the shockwave spread out across, knocking everyone back and sending Izuku quickly out of sight towards his destination. I hope he comes back safe, mumbled Uraraka. All Might laid a hand on her shoulder. He will. Don't you worry about that. She smiled at the old pro and then turned to the sky where she last saw Izuku fly. And guys, this is the end. I hope you guys enjoyed. Well, until next time, peace.